Now on the upper lateral arm, it's going to be held in place with a larger 18mm as well as two 15s. And like I said before, the engine may rock. Engine's not going to drop because there is a center mount located in the center of the timing cover that actually holds it in place. Lateral arms just keep it from rocking back and forth. Set them off to the side. Now we have enough access to get to it and pull it out. Like I said before, we're going to pay close attention to the rubber. This one's not cracked, so the upper was great, the lower's great, we're good to go. Now what we want to work on is getting to this bracket that the upper lateral arm actually was bolted to with the 18mm. With that out of the way, we're going to have so much extra room. Now it's going to be held in place with a total of 3 bolts. They're all 18s. We've got one that goes over here towards the front of the shock tower or strut tower, and then we've got 2 of them that go down here right below where the AC lines are that we took loose. 2 of them stacked one on top of each other. So once you get to those 2, you've got one last thing, 10mm ground right here. So let's work on getting those off. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get to that front bolt. That's that 10mm. Or 18, excuse me. Alright, that's one down. We got 2 more. On the other side, I like to use a longer socket, longer extension to clear everything. Get through it. And those are going to be nuts instead of bolts. Now we're down to just getting that 10mm for that ground. Now, if the vehicle is equipped with cruise control, you have a couple little minor steps. You actually have a cruise control servo mounted to this bracket with 2 10mm studs going through. Now technically you wouldn't have to take it all the way off. You would have to unhook the connector to it. And then you would just actually grab the bracket, set it to the side with the servo and cable still hooked to it. This one doesn't have it, so we're good to go. We can go ahead and pop this thing up and get it out of our way. And once we get up high enough, we got one thing we got to take loose. We do have a wiring harness connector. This connector actually is for a cruise control servo. The vehicle's not equipped with it, but it came pre-wired for it. So during an install, you actually would look for that to see if it was there, and would save you a lot of time with installing the cruise control. So we just need to go ahead and pop it loose. Just sit to the side. Now we take the bracket, sit on the ground. Now we've got access to go ahead and get into the front bracket, as well as anything else we need to on the front of this. So what I'm going to go ahead and proceed with next is going ahead and getting that front engine mount bolt all the way out and get this engine supported, and I'll show you how then we'll start moving it up and down and start taking a few items off, such as the balance. At this point, I've gone ahead and supported the engine, like I said, with a wooden block. At this point, you either use a jack floor jack with some wood as well. Now we want to get to the center bolt that holds the engine mount bolt directly to the center of the timing cover. That's actually what holds the engine up on the passenger side. You know, we've got a rubber plug here that we need to get access to, and you can find a ground strap that clips on there. Just get up in there with a screwdriver and pop it loose. Now, it's going to be a torque style fastener. It's actually a T55. And we'll go ahead and get that going. Now keep in mind, engine may move at this point, But as long as you guys support it properly and not excessive force up or down momentarily, and it's in a rest position, you should get the bolt out without too much movement. There we go, bolts out. Now if we raise the engine, now we're going to get access to stuff above. If we need to lower it, this is the time to do it. Now when you go to lower this engine, the mount on the other side of this frame rail sits in a V-shaped recess. So at times when you're trying to raise or lower, for example trying to raise the body up, engine down, or dropping the engine in that case, you may have to wedge a pry bar between the engine and the frame to get that rubber mount out of the way, because it wants to catch in that little recess, that little funnel V type area. So that's what you need to pay attention to if you're picking up the jacking up the car or lowering the engine and it doesn't want to move properly. You need to pay attention to that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead, lift the vehicle or lower the engine, and we're going to work on getting this balancer off. We're going to work on getting that balancer bolt off now, and it's actually just a 19 millimeter. I'm using an impact. If you use an impact, you don't have to worry about the pulley wanting to turn on you. Alright, now we've got that out of the place. Now we're going to use a 3-jaw puller to get into the 3 recesses here, and we're going to have an insert that goes in as well, because it's actually a little bit deeper than what it appears. So let me go ahead and get that set up, and then we'll get that pulley off. Now it's time to go ahead and get this pulley off. Go ahead and get my impact on it. There we go. Now it's out of the way. Now when it comes time to getting a pulley puller, if you don't have a 3-jaw puller, you can probably go to your local port's house and use what they call their loaner tool program, where you don't have to physically buy one, but you can actually just borrow it for the day or two. Unless you actually want to use this or get one on a regular basis, in case you're going to be doing other repairs on other vehicles, it's not a bad thing, because you're going to come across times when you will need that 3-jaw puller. So with that, we got the pulley off, the balancer off. Now we're going to move on to getting the front bracket off. I say front. It's actually up against the frame rail where the engine mount went. That's actually the mount for the engine mount bolt that we showed you earlier. It goes through the frame rail into this bracket that bolts to the block itself. That's the bracket we're going to get out of the way. Once we get it out of the way, we're going to have access to the belt.